the things that we reward people for is like, it's foolish in a sense, because like I watch some people celebrate people that come home from jail. I watch people flex knowing that they're in poverty situations. I watch people dress up failure and to look like it's more than what it actually is. I watched it my whole life, and I engaged in it for a while, and it actually stunted my growth, because one thing I always tell somebody, like, you ever heard the term fake it till you make it? I always tell people, nothing comes with faking like you're successful. I can see it for an opportunity. For instance, let's say if I don't know how to fix cars, I'm a little good, and you own a mechanic shop, and I act like I know how to fix cars better because I'm looking for a job.
Right.
So I'm gonna fake it till I make it.
Right.
So that means there's an opportunity that's coming from the faking it till you make it. But looking like you got money, dressing like you got money, spending all your money to look like you got money, what comes from that? And I just think that that's where the foolish mentality stems from when it comes to the faking it till you make it. What do you get from when you hear that?
I mean, similar to what you say, but do you find that to be a cultural thing with us? Because I don't think a lot of cultures do that. I've been exposed to a lot of different races and different cultures, and I feel like that's something that's very prevalent in the Black community, is that we would rather look rich than to actually be rich. It's like a fight to make people think that we just got it like that. You know what I'm saying? And we don't. I feel like, you know, for the most part, a lot of people that I'm around, they don't want to fake it until they make it. There's certain things that they just don't want to do because they prioritize, and it's just not a priority for them.
Agreed.
You know, designer clothes isn't a priority. Driving a nice car or a brand new car isn't a priority. You know, they kind of go by the whole theory of if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. And we go by whether it's broke or not. I need to just get better and better.
And just being fair to like Black culture. I do believe that Black culture, we always ignite or we always intensify the people that have a low mentality, and then we compare other cultures, they're high IQ people, to the people that's in our culture at the low IQ. Because if we took the Black people that are like successful, like legit, and that's worked hard, and that's went to school, and that's elevated their families,
right,
and we took them and we made that the standard, then we would stop looking at the lower people and making that the standard. I think what it is they overly magnify the bads in our culture more than the goods, and I will admit that. But I do believe that like a white person gets compared to Beverly Hills white person, and they compare us to our ghetto Black. We don't talk about the Beverly Hills Black guy, right? We talk about the guy that's at the bottom, and then we compare it to the guy at the top in other cultures. Because if I go look at all across the board, Spanish culture, they definitely have their ignorance. White people definitely have their ignorance. See, the thing is, you have white Americans, but they don't talk about, what about rednecks? What about hillbillies? What about
white
their
trash,
ignorance? White trash, trailer park trash. What about those statements? But they only talk about the Blacks being ignorant. I'm like, yeah, we have a lot of ignorance in our culture, because I do believe that a lot of us been held back and oppressed so long that it's feel like I have to like feel something significant that about myself. And I do believe that it makes them feel good about themselves, because that is insecurity though. Yeah.
Why do you guys think that our culture doesn't like to get talked about by our own? Because it's a lot of times you guys make certain statements and we see the clips, we see the comments, and people take it offensive as if we're trying to go against the community when we're trying to build. So what do you think it is that why the Black culture doesn't like just being told about themselves?
I think the truth hurts. And I think that accountability is not easy for everyone. When you really have to look in the mirror and see that you're the problem, everyone doesn't want that. I'm guilty of that, you know, and I think that is a big thing with our culture. It goes back to Q even saying, you know, not just the culture, the gender of him saying, and I applied that yesterday with talking to someone, when he's like, you know, you could talk to your boys, but as women, there's certain things that we just can't even say to our girlfriends. And it's out of love. It's not coming from a bad place, but you just feel like you're so apprehensive about saying something because you're like, oh my God, in fear for like, you know, what is she gonna say? How is she gonna feel? I feel like that's the same rules apply to us culturally. It's just like, accountability is just hard for people to take. And that's just my opinion. We just looking in the mirror, man, that's a reflection of who you are. And people don't like to see that reflection, you know?
Starting at the bottom of the race and moving my way up, I've noticed that the rooms that I've gotten into that are more successful, they're more transparent and more truthful. I think in the bottom, people are more delusional and more captivated by being lied to. You know, and that's what I've noticed as I move up. I'm like, damn, they're raw. I got a Jewish mentor one time, we were having a discussion, and he came out his face with me crazy.
Yeah.
But at the time I was whining about something. And this is years ago, and I was whining about something. He said, either A, we're gonna get it done or we're gonna keep whining. He said, you're spending all your energy whining.
Yeah, but do you think that money gives people the right to be arrogant? Because there's a difference. To me, success isn't about money, just to me. Like, you can have someone that goes to work every day, they work hard, they have their medical, the dental, they have their 401k, and they're comfortable. And then you have someone else now who thinks that because, you making $2 over lunch money, that you could talk to people any way. And I feel like, to me, there's a difference between being successful and being arrogant. Arrogance is just something that is just intolerable for me.
But the thing about the term arrogance is all relative to the person's perspective of how they view you.
Right.
For instance, a person could say, I want 5 cars, and you might only want 1 car. I'm like, he don't need 5 cars. Why are you worried about what that person is driven to
different.
want? That's why people can be called arrogant. Because once a person comfortably believes in himself and they sound with themselves, the people that aren't, they tend to want them to believe that they only can go to the level of what they believe they can go to. A lot of time it's called projecting. When you look at a person, I know I'm him, I'm her, I'm confident, and the person be like, she full of herself. Maybe because you don't like yourself.
Yeah.
That's why you don't like it. Because to be honest with you, arrogance is when you're not approachable. Arrogance is when you're not teachable. Arrogance is when you're not coachable. So when you say that somebody, confidence, arrogance, conceitedness, they're all on the same fence. They're very closely related. Depends on the person's lens on how they view you. Because again, me saying, I know I'm him. Some people that haven't built that level of confidence, Q is arrogant as hell. No, I know I am. Right? And again, in order for me to continue my success and to continue to build, I have to genuinely believe that. But the same way, if I see somebody broken down on the highway, I'm one of the first people that want to stop and help them. When I see people don't know financial literacy, I'm one of the first people that want to teach them. So reality is, that's not arrogance. You have to be confident in order to be successful. So reality is, people misconstrue it because of how they view you, right? Somebody come on the basketball court, I'm better than all y'all over here. He think... Bro, in order to beat y'all, he has to think like that. He has to think like that. And it's just what it is. I hate to say it, that this world is built America's a big chessboard. And you just have to understand strategically how to place your pieces in the right places in order to beat it. Because the reality is, the only way to beat it is by playing the system. People that try to rebel against the system is why they constantly lose. Every time you look at our culture, we tend to think we're going to beat the system. But meanwhile, you can utilize the system the same way other cultures utilize the system to elevate themselves. But they tend to believe that it's something in the way of them that's not there. It's you. And the disbelief on yourself, and a lack of confidence, and in a constant looking for excuses, opposed to saying, you know what, I need to just do. That's our issue, I think, in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, that was you just answering the question that I asked, but...
What do you guys think's like a big... Because since we talk about glorifying ignorance, what is something that we glorify too much right now that it just has to get stopped in order to grow?
Cars.
We glorify cars. Yes. I feel like everyone wants them.
We all scream cars are liabilities, but yet and still we overly value liabilities. Yeah. I've watched so many videos of people crying about their car rates that they got. Most people don't even know what their rate on their car is. Well, interest rates is everything. When you take something and you don't even look at the rate of what you acquired it, because I'm gonna tell you something. We could drive the same year car, have the same mileage on our car, and have the same amount of gas in our car. Don't mean we pay the same price for our car. Because reality is, your credit could be one score, my credit could be one score, and we do not have the same payment on our car. You know what I'm saying? And that's the issue where people tend to look at everybody from a certain lens. I'm like, hold on. You got to look at that story to why. Because, like, for instance, my luxury cars is not paid for by me. They're paid for by assets that I acquired that pay for it. That's what you try to teach people to understand. It's not about wanting nice things. It's about how you acquire the nice things.
And how you continue to pay for it.
Yes, because laboring for liabilities is what keep you broke. You're supposed to labor for assets and then removing yourself, then buying liabilities with the assets that you've acquired from the laboring. But the spectrum is the other way around.